And we are live. Welcome everyone to the Ales and Fails Twitch stream. I am the one known as Ale Wolf, today with our special guest who's been joining us on this campaign, John. John, please say hello.
Hello everybody.
Yeah, so if you are new to the stream, and we do have a first-time viewer, welcome Namji. The goal of this particular campaign is to go through the arcanist class, and this is my first time through it. And John over here is an experienced player, and so he's talking to me and walking me through some of the initial steps here. Before we go into the action though, let me go ahead and do my spiel here. Today I am enjoying a Party Clouds from Jackrabbit. This is a hazy IPA. So unlike West Coast IPAs, which tend to be quite bitter, hazy IPAs are a little bit more tropical, more refreshing, certainly juicier, sometimes fruity. This one hits the spot. I mostly picked it up from the store because it had a very fun design. I do like a party every now and then. So bang an ale, dear viewers. John, would you be enjoying any sorts of drinks this afternoon?
Some nice clean H2O.
Of course, the dihydrogen monoxide, of course.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's get on with this. I'm gonna go ahead and log into my character. And of course the world is full. The world is always full. Would you happen to be drinking, enjoying anything this afternoon, Namji? Oh no, I have nothing of the sort. Sorry John, I'm responding to one of our viewers today. Genshin Impact, a very healthy pastime. I'll have to talk to you about that later. That sounds like an interesting undertaking. Alright, so we left off last week. Here I am in Linsa Lominsa, and I've yet to grasp my ultimate quest here, so I'm just going to go through whatever it is I'm currently doing. Deliver a letter to Ptash. Yeah. What are you doing on your end, John?
I think I'm in the middle of finishing up my gladiator quest, so that's the first class quest that I've done so far. Or maybe the second, I'm not sure.
Okay. How are you enjoying the gladiator class so far?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I think probably the thing that makes it the most novel is just me trying it out with a gamepad as opposed to the keyboard and mouse.
And how's that working out for you?
I'm able to control it. It's definitely a different experience.
Nice. Would you, if you had the chance, well, I guess at this point it's a little early to tell, but would you say it is a better interface than the keyboard?
It is kind of early to tell. I would say that just because I'm so used to keyboard and mouse and MMOs, it's just something that I'm just super used to, so this is completely new.
Okay, well, what if a thief broke into your house right now, gun to your head, and said, "Hey, keyboard or a gamepad?
Well, I would ask the thief why they're sticking me up. If they're a thief, I would imagine they would just want to steal stuff and not want to
Well,
threaten
they're
me.
about to steal your graphics card, let's say.
I would
And
probably just give them the graphics card.
but before they leave, they're like, "Hey, keyboard or gamepad."
I would hope by that point somebody called the police.
Okay, well, I think you're just shying away from the question.
Maybe, maybe.
Okay, so I'm completing a quest, delivering a letter. Nice. And I guess this person has a follow-up quest. I've still got some difficulty determining if the quests that I am engaging in are optional or they are part of my requirements, simply because it seems that sometimes I've got quests from NPCs that are associated with the main storyline, but they've also got just additional quests in addition to whatever it is I wanted to do with them in the first place.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Mostly just, I always just look at the title of the quest. Where it says current main scenario quest, I look at that one, and if there's any sub-quests, then it'll also show the name.
You know, you might be right. And Namji over here is also providing some very useful tips here. So yeah, the flame frame. In previous episodes, I've called it a continental frame, simply because I never thought that it was a flame. I thought it was like an island type of outline. Mea culpa, as they say. And the blue exclamation points are ways to unlock dungeons and other trials. Okay, so maybe I don't need to take this just yet. I'll leave that for later. Go to main scenario quest. What's in the box? Did you ever happen to catch the show An Idiot Abroad, John?
No, I haven't, actually.
Well, it's this British travel show with Ricky Gervais and this other guy. Well, thank you for the friend request, Namji. I'll be sure to accept it very soon, as soon as I get my bearings over here. So the show is it's Ricky Gervais. It was a few years back, and he's traveling with a friend of his, or he's asking a friend of his to travel. And so he goes to different places around the world and talks to different people. And so it is the reason why it's a fun show to watch is because the guy hasn't really gotten out much, and so he doesn't know anything about other people's cultures, and so he's kind of just stumbling his way through what their customs are and what they eat, and he really is kind of an idiot. So the reason why I even bring this up is because that's exactly how I feel right now. I feel like an idiot just doing this thing.
Yeah, it can definitely be a lot to take in once you start this game, but pretty much start picking up stuff as you level on.
Okay, so regular exclamation points with no frame or color are side quests. Good to know. Thank you. So for any other viewers catching this stream, my friend Namji over here is also a very experienced raider. She has her own Twitch channel, so please follow her. Very, very good showings. Certainly much better than anything I am doing over here. Okay, get all the way over there. I guess I'm gonna have to go outside the castle walls to travel all the way to Lower Lanasia. Never seen it. Well, thank you for the information. I will accept you. Thank you very much for the friend invitation, Namji. Very much appreciate that. We were once friends long ago in my different character. Oh, I see. She also sent me a company invite. Thank you very much.
I think definitely one of the things that I can attest to in MMOs. Well, one thing that I can attest to in Final Fantasy XIV is that it's definitely a lot friendlier and a lot more inviting compared to other MMOs. Because some of the communities in WoW, or what's another MMO I played? I also played Star Wars: The Old Republic, so some of those left stuff to be desired.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other major MMO out there, John. I thought you were about to get political.
Which one?
Oh, you know.
I don't know. Is it Diablo 3?
Sure, that's what I was talking about. Actually, John, are we friends in this game already?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Namji was just saying that she can add you to the free company if you're so inclined.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Can you send me your name? What is your name?
Sure. I can spell it out for you. So I don't have you in my friends list, but so maybe it might be easier for me to add you, actually.
Okay. Do you know what my name is?
Yeah, I can see it.
Look. Yes, we don't know each other's name. We actually haven't met yet in the game because he started in Ulda and I started in Limsa Lominsa. But one day we'll get together. What's in the box? Okay, let's see. Deal unexpected damage. Okay, so you are Besherdin. I can probably spell that in the chat. What exactly was the idea behind that name of yours, John?
I just like the way that it sounds. It's not necessarily related to something.
One thing I still have difficulty remembering is the fact that I'm playing a caster class, and so I constantly keep interrupting my own spells by just running around. It's a little counterproductive.
You never played a caster in an MMO before?
Yeah, I used to play a fire mage in World of Warcraft, if you don't recall.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember now. Did you ever level up that character to maximum?
I would say it was probably my tertiary character on that game um, before I gave up. But my mains were still melee classes, so it's also just about trying to find my distance. I think the thing I learned back then was to maximize my distance between myself and the target in order to actually destroy the target before they came up to me. Very, very basic stuff. I don't even know why I'm mentioning this. And let's see. So now I have to slay tiny mandragoras. Physic. Target HP.
I am quite liking the name of this free company. It's very nice.
Yeah, that was an inspired name. Okay, I think I'm almost done with this quest. Just one more target. Okay. Okay, I guess I've got to go back all the way home. No, I guess I can't teleport there. That's not really my home point. Well, that's some large windmills. Reminds me of Switzerland. So, John, you also happen to be an avid Street Fighter player. What do you make of that Street Fighter 6 announcement?
I thought it was really cool, actually. I know that there's been some kind of memes on the internet kind of making fun of it, but I thought it was pretty cool. I think it's interesting that I think that they're using the Unreal Engine that they used for the Resident Evil games, is what I'm hearing. That they're using that to um, develop this game.
I would like to say that that means something significant to me, but I guess it is difficult for me to associate particular engines with particular games. Like I know Monster Hunter Rise used some type of RE engine, but I'm sure it's not the same one because they didn't call it the Unreal Engine.
Most of all, I'm just interested in what direction they're going to take the game.
I think the real question here, John, is where in the timeline does it take place? Is this still pre-Street Fighter 3?
So that's an interesting question because so the last character that they added into Street Fighter V was that Luke character, and so Luke was a completely new character. Um, that was added to Street Fighter V, and Street Fighter V. You said it takes place after Street Fighter 3, like chronologically?
As far as I know, the the order in which the games go still is Street Fighter, Alpha, 2, 4, 5, 3.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, so it might be right before 3, or I don't know, maybe it could even be after 3 because just because of how old Ryu looks.
Sweet mix rose cheese. Tax lady.
I'll be right back.
Sounds good. I certainly need to take a moment to study all the commands on my pet Carbuncle. I'm not, like, I understand the basics, and I know that it's doing certain actions on its own. But maybe I should optimize what it's doing at certain times. Particularly this Radiant Aegis. I guess it's a shield that it casts on itself. Yes, this is going to be there's going to be a learning curve involved here. So please continue to tune in if you'd like to see me fail at that very basic task. Okay, I was right there. This looks like some sort of profession quest. Okay. And that seems to have completed that quest.
I've returned.
Welcome back. Okay, I guess I'm going back to middle of La Nausea. I have to keep reminding myself not to say La Nasha.
Ever since you had so much confusion with that name, I myself have become confused as to how to pronounce it.
Well, language is a fluid thing. So before we leave the Street Fighter topic, any returning characters that you definitely want to be there?
Probably Ken, which is my main character.
I don't know that there's any chance that Ken won't be there.
Well, you never know. Street Fighter 3 released without Ryu and Ken.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Are there any that you want to come back?
Most likely Yuri. I think she has become my new main.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a particular wish list for Street Fighter 6 since you brought up the topic?
Not so heavy jumps.
I guess when you compare it to Street Fighter 4, the jumps are a lot heavier in Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, I think somebody once made an apt comparison when they said that previous Street Fighters are like Max Payne 1 and 2, where you're just like an action star leaping from place to place. Whereas in Max Payne 3, you're old and super heavy, and so every leap of faith that you take, it's like you're throwing a couch against something.
That's funny. I mean, some of the comparisons that I've seen between Street Fighter 5 and its predecessors is, I guess from the pro players that I've watched, is that Street Fighter 5 actually puts a lot more emphasis in offensive gameplay, whereas the previous ones actually rewarded you more for um, more defensive gameplay. Which is kind of true, I mean, even at the low levels, because the game just you deal a lot of damage, it feels like. Like it's easy to do, well, it's easier to do like the heavy dealing damage combos. Um, and yeah, overall it's just more rewarding to play offensively.
I see what you mean. I was just ambushed by slugs in a crate.
It's not good.
Oh, that was a close one. Started the battle at close range. Seems that we encountered a bookish type.
Oh, I actually got to that quest where it's asking me to equip myself with level 5 gear.
So such quests do exist.
Yeah, I guess I'm behind on levels than you.
I guess I'm completing an arcanist specific quest over here. I just met a trainer. What most influences my actions? Desire to outwit an enemy, potential for amusement, or I simply do what feels right? Well, I suppose I am a hedonist. And the way she goes. So while I appreciate Carbuncle at my side, do you happen to know if there's any other pets or summons that this class actually gets paired up with?
I do not know, actually.
Well, thanks for confirming, Namji. I think Carbuncle is, from my experience with other Final Fantasies, I'm assuming it's a very, very strong support type. Whereas I'm wondering if at some point I get paired up with a more DPS type. But I guess I will find out. Report to Thubergeim at the Arcanist Guild. One thing I certainly appreciate about this particular MMO world is that it seems lively and active even during the nighttime. It seems like there's always things happening and there's always just monsters out there waiting to fight. It's I don't know, it's almost kind of a welcoming aura, if that makes any sense.
Makes sense to me.
Okay, here's hoping that I reach level 8 by completing this quest. Very nice. So I get a new grimoire. So when selecting what reward to get from the quest giver, only items with green attributes would increase whatever I have right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say so. I think I always usually just go to the subcommands and do item comparison.
Good call. Well, certainly no difference here. Oh wait, never mind. Roll actions. But only need to be learned once to be able to use them with all participating classes within a role. Okay. Lowers target's physical damage dealt by 5% and magic damage dealt by 10%. Nice. Let's put this one here. Okay, so I'm officially level 8. Where are you? Or what level are you?
I am level 8, very close to level 9.
I guess somehow I'm keeping pace.
Now I'm level 9.
Well, no need to brag there. Jeez.
You're not leveling up fast enough.
I guess I'm not.
How are we going to get to Endwalker at this pace?
Well, okay. Let's say we play 1 hour per week. How many hours does it take to get to Endwalker?
A whole lot. I haven't even gotten to Endwalker on my main character.
Are you excited about doing that?
Yeah, although I've taken a break this week from actually playing on my main character, so
When do you generally play?
um, usually during the early evening or just during the weekends, really.
Hmm. Oh, give me 1 minute here. I have gained an untradeable item. I'm assuming that's the same as a soulbound item from World of Warcraft.
Yes, that is a good comparison. You know, one thing I always wonder about this game world is how come dwarves were never introduced? Like,
Dwarves.
yeah, like the ones that you find in like Tolkien's works or in World of Warcraft or in Dungeons and Dragons.
I guess that's an interesting question. Final Fantasy does borrow from other fantasy races, and they do have. I would guess the Lalafell are closest to gnomes or middle folk, and they do have an elven species here, don't they?
Yeah, I'm forgetting the name. I think it's Elezen. Elezen?
I just remember what they were called in Final Fantasy XI, which I think was Elvan, which, yes, you are the elf class, elf race. And so that's interesting. They did have dwarves back in Final Fantasy IV. Ah, okay, made it to the quest giver. Nice, new quest. I find it very interesting when there's parts of the game that it allows me to jump off cliffs without any repercussion, but yet closer to the cities there's no allowed of jumping of barriers.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe they want you to take the scenic route as opposed to skipping.
I don't care for landlubbers. Okay. That can't be the right way to go. What am I missing here? Oh, okay. I am very much convincing several slacking Yowmen to stop slacking by simply exchanging a word or two.
That's good.
Some very high charisma.
Seems like you might have what it takes to be a leadership figure.
Yeah, how about that? Maybe in another life. Ah, I knew it.
Well, so outside of cities, this game definitely has fall damage.
I guess I haven't been impacted as much just yet. So other than Final Fantasy XI, what else are you playing these days, John?
Hmm. Um, Street Fighter V. It's another game I played. It's been a while since I've played Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. Uh, I've been meaning to play that one again, but I just haven't picked it up lately.
Why haven't you, or why did you drop it in the first place?
I didn't really drop it, I just haven't been playing it. Still very much have a save file there, ready to go. Mostly just been preoccupied by watching other media, consuming other media.
I feel like once I drop a single player RPG like Shin Megami Tensei for any sort of time, I'll probably have to restart next time I play.
Yeah, that's how I originally felt like the first time that I started playing it again, because I did actually play this before one time. But this was not the remake, this was just the original Shin Megami Tensei, so I did feel kind of obligated to start over again. And it wasn't too bad because I actually didn't remember too much of the story to begin with.
Yeah, I think that one fundamental aspect of single player RPGs is the storyline. And if you happen to lose track of what you are doing, I think there is significant reason for you to either read up on what happened or start over. Actually, one of the RPGs that I was playing a few months back, I want to say a few months back, but it probably has been a year, was Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, the remaster for PlayStation 3. And I know that that game is not, well, it is and it isn't story heavy. It is a retread of Kingdom Hearts 1 Worlds. But at this point, if I go back to it, I feel like I might as well just start again. Just because I don't have the basics for the game mechanics, or I've lost them.
Yeah, Chain of Memories is actually a game I never finished because I remember getting stuck on that Jafar fight, and that I played the original Game Boy Advance version, so I don't know how different mechanically that was versus, I guess, the newer PSP or PS3 versions. I don't know in what other consoles it's released, but that Jafar fight was just very frustrating. I may have gotten like the wrong cards because I remember there being like a card system that you had to set up, and then if you got the wrong cards, sometimes stuff was too expensive or something to that effect. So I think I kind of built myself into a corner the last time that I played it. So that's kind of what made it even more frustrating.
I certainly remember that there were fights where I felt like I would be having a lot more fun if I could just do the same old moves that I used to do in regular Kingdom Hearts. Simply because you run out of card points or the energy needed to pull off certain card moves, and yeah, it's like you break cards or you skip cards, and it's not the funnest exercise. And it's also just the case that you can't really brute strength your way through it simply because you still have to manage a particular point pool, and even if you level up a lot, all you are really doing is increasing your HP pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
See what you mean.
I'll finish it at some point. It's gonna happen if I ever want to move on to Kingdom Hearts 2. I have to do every single game.
You haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2?
No,
Oh wow.
I've only seen you play it.
That's another game that I didn't finish. So I guess before we leave the topic of Chain of Memories, I do remember kind of enjoying the whole card mechanic, but I just remember it kind of being able to build myself into a hole with my cards. So that wasn't so fun. But it was pretty innovative, and that was the first time that I ever saw a Game Boy Advance game have video in it, because it did have like a little video render of the 3D game where it actually showed 3D graphics. And it's pretty clever because Game Boy Advance, mostly a 2D gaming console, handheld gaming console, but it did have that video render, which was pretty surprising. So I originally thought it was like, wow, Game Boy Advance is capable of 3D, but what was more likely the case is just that it had video on it. So that was kind of neat. It's one thing that I remember.
Well, I think it was Game Boy Advance that was also host to a number of cartridges that were actually like TV shows and TV episodes. Like I think you could watch certain Nickelodeon show episodes on Game Boy Advance cartridges.
Hmm.
Stuff like Rugrats and things like that, or
Yeah,
SpongeBob, Sponge Roberts.
yeah, I remember that. I definitely remember that. I remember even at one point, I think just for the novelty, my second oldest brother, he was actually telling me that he wanted to buy one of those cartridges. I think it was like a Pokemon Season 1 cartridge. And he said, if you help me buy this, we can share it and then we can watch it. And at the time, I guess because it was so novel and we were just kids, it seemed like a great idea, but we never went through with it. But looking back, I was like, wow, what a scam.
It's like, hey brother, okay, let's go ahead and buy these low quality versions of the first season of Pokemon and watch it on this tiny screen. Let's invest on this.
I know, right?
I guess that sounds pretty silly, but it was pretty novel at the time, so I completely get that. Now it's just like, well, you can essentially watch anything at the palm of your hands at any time with pretty high quality. So why would you even do anything like that?
Yeah.
But yeah, Chain of Memories. I will have to complete it at some point. I don't know that it would be productive to stream that because it would be just me looking at menus for 20 minutes at a time, and I don't think that's really good watching.
Well, people watch some Pokemon categories where it's literally just menuing. Sorry, speedrunning categories where it's literally just menuing until you glitch the game to be beaten. So you never know what kind of demographic you'll get.
That reminds me, I was watching a stream the other day about this guy playing, I think, Street Fighter 3, one of the Street Fighter 3s, and he was more or less like having one single fight, but like he kept pausing and just talking about what he was doing and what each character was doing, and I thought it was pretty interesting, but a lot of downtime. So I guess there's an audience for such things.
That's interesting. He was pausing and talking about the game.
Yeah. Well, talking about the openings or like the characters or specific moves that could be played at this particular instance and things like that.
Oh, I see.
It was pretty in depth actually, and this person had a pretty good following. So I doubt that it was like very low quality content.
Hmm.
What does this guy need? Confront Severin and cast Slash Doubt on his actions. What does that mean?
I think it wants you to emote onto that character.
So literally to slash doubt what they are. Okay. I slashed out you. Oh, that certainly seemed to have set him off. Okay, checkpoint. His actions have been doubted.
Hey, so speaking about games, do you have any intentions of playing that new Elden Ring game?
So here's my old man rant here. I feel like I've been hearing about this game for 4 months at least. And actually, the first time I heard about it was on a stream from this Korean person who was just like, "Hey, is anyone interested in Elden Ring?" And then they were talking about it, and I'm like, "Why Elden Ring?" And I looked it up, and it's not even released. And so, as at this point, I understand that it's either made or it's similar to a Dark Souls game. But you tell me, why is it receiving so much hype?
Well, the reason why it's receiving so much hype is because first off, it is from the publisher or the developer from South.
Okay.
That's where the mainline Souls series comes from. So that's the first part.
Hey, don't forget Demon Souls.
That's why I said Souls.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm just saying
basically-
that you shouldn't forget it.
I will try not to forget.
Thank you.
But basically, so that's one factor. The other factor is that apparently it has. I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but it has like writing or inspiration from George R.R. Martin.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Yes. So, George R.R. Martin, for the fans of your stream who are not aware, is obviously the creator of the Game of Thrones series.
Gotcha. Wait, shouldn't he be finishing that final Game of Thrones book or something?
It's very true, but I think the same could have been said about the the creator of Berserk. But sadly, he passed away before Berserk finished.
Wait, but he didn't help out Elden Ring.
No,
He
no,
just
he
died.
didn't. Well, I'm just saying that authors in general sometimes just don't finish their work. They're just not very consistent. They're very capricious.
Well, I don't disagree. I was mostly jesting. And to be perfectly honest, he should be doing what he wants to do / loves to do. So that's good for him if that's where he thinks his time would be best spent.
So yeah, actually, do you have any of the most modern generation of consoles? Because I think it's Elden Ring is released on PS5, the Xbox Series X.
I have neither of those, so it's not coming out on PC, I'm assuming.
Oh, actually it is. Actually it is. I just realized. So available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Series S, and Windows.
Okay. Wait, what about a Switch Cloud version though?
I don't think there's going to be a Switch Cloud version.
Gosh darn it, why can't everything be on the Switch?
Think they'll release a Switch Cloud version of Final Fantasy XIV?
That would be amusing. Deliver the sack of oranges to Osine at the Thagran checkpoint. I mean, I will happily check out some gameplay videos, but as it is the way of the old player, if I decide to get into this game, I will have to play some predecessor game. So maybe I'll go back to Demon Souls and play that first.
You don't have to. Elden Ring is does not have a number attached to it.
Elden Ring Souls.
No, just Elden Ring. You know, it's kind of funny. I was a couple months back, I remember watching this video on YouTube about the different speedrunning categories of the Souls games. So the kind of the way that they shaked out was first there was so I guess the first category that really, so obviously they started speedrunning Dark Souls games. So, you know, they would just say, okay, I'm going to do a speedrun. Like some of the speedrunners said, okay, I'm going to do a speedrun of Dark Souls 1 and 2 sequentially without, I think it was without dying, and I think it's even gone as crazy as not getting hit. So that was kind of the first iteration. I'm going to beat Dark Souls 1 and 2 without ever dying. So that's pretty crazy because those games are all about dying.
Yep.
So then the next iteration came when I think one of the other studios, I actually don't know if Bloodborne was published by From Software, but
I thought they made
related.
it.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Like their idea was a more action-based Dark Souls game. That was the idea. I guess I don't have my facts straight, but I thought that was the notion behind that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But they decided to kind of take that. They decided to also take the Bloodborne game, and so they started calling this run where they wouldn't die and they would go through Dark Souls 1 and 2 and Bloodborne. They started calling this the Soulsborne run, where they would basically go through all of the Dark Souls and Bloodborne and not die, basically. So that's pretty crazy, and I think the run was like 12 hours or something like that. And then came out the other kind of Dark Souls game, or Dark Souls-like game, which was Sekiro.
I've heard
And
about
so,
that, yeah.
and so this run expanded to include all of the Dark Souls games, Bloodborne, and Sekiro, and the name just got even more ridiculous, and it's Soulsborne Kiro now. That's what they call this speedrun. Soulsborne Kiro.
Soulsborne Kiro.
Yes.
Okay. So what's coming next? Is it Soulsborne Kiro Ring? Soulsborne Kiro Ring?
I mean, yeah, your guess is as good as mine.
That's fun.
I don't know. All I know is that the last iteration of that run was almost like 24 hours or something like that. So I think it was only like 1 or 2 people at that point that were doing that run. At least from the time that I saw that YouTube video. So kind of interesting to see if they also include Elden Ring, considering Elden Ring is also supposed to be kind of a more open world game versus the other Souls series.
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how quickly they get to the point where they can confidently say I will not die in this particular game. How fast they can master it.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake. It's definitely very, very, very difficult to do the Soulsborne Kira run. Like it's almost there's very few people that have completed it just because of how difficult it is. So
well,
yeah.
I mean, again, I am in no way an experienced player in the Soulsborne games or what have you, but I do remember that there are fights where by, most intents and purposes you are supposed to lose. So it's interesting to see that there's people that can even override those particular checks.
Mhm. I think the most challenging thing that I've ever done in the Souls series was probably just finish the game, finish Dark Souls 1 as level 1. And so back then, the only class that you could have as level 1 was the Pyromancer. So that was an achievement, and that was really, really difficult for me. And yeah. And back then, there used to be this ability where it was called Iron Flesh, which was a spell for the Pyromancer, which basically made it so that had a lot more defense, and you just didn't have to worry about kind of you didn't have to worry too much. Like it was still difficult. It toned down the difficulty considerably. But I actually took up that run right after that got patched because I think they added a level requirement to that specific spell. So that's definitely the hardest thing that I've ever done in the Souls series is beating Dark Souls 1 at level 1.
That sounds like quite the achievement. I'm sorry I missed that. I'm assuming you did that offline.
Yeah, I did that offline.
Alright, I need a 5-minute break to get a drink, but I will be right back.
Sounds good.
All right, and we are back. So I decided to follow up with a stout, specifically an East Brother Oatmeal Stout. Avid viewers of the stream will remember this particular stout. Uh, Certain stouts are made using oatmeal. I do love a good oatmeal breakfast, and so this stout is slightly sweet, very robust. Sweet like most stouts, not bitter like coffee-ish stouts. So very much my type of drink. Fanganale. Oh, so I recently leveled up to level 9, so can't be that far behind, John.
I am right there with you. Level 9.
So I guess we never touched up on the subject, but are you going to play Elden Ring?
No. I would like to.
All that for no, I'm not gonna play that.
I would like to, but I think my computer probably wouldn't handle it. So, and I've just been too lazy to kind of figure out how to upgrade my computer.
That's fair. That's completely understandable. Well, if Elden Ring is not really in your future, what are you looking forward to playing?
Lately, I don't know. I guess I've kind of just it's kind of a dumb answer because we've kind of spoken about Street Fighter 6 already, but
There's no
kind of
damn
looking forward to playing
answers.
that game.
Street Fighter 6.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a while before it comes out, you know.
it's true.
Chat, what are you looking forward to playing? By the way, that never works. Okay, so speak with Rottweiler.
By the way, while you were out, I did look up the run, and it's actually not a no-death run, it's a no-hit run, so you can't get hit. Otherwise, you reset the entire run.
How much practice do you think goes into that?
Probably an inordinate amount.
I wish I had. I don't even wish I had that skill. I just wish I had that time. Of course, specifically for me, I'm generally 2 generations behind in terms of what I would like to play. Maybe not the case particularly here, but the next game I intend on playing, once I have room for another game, will probably be Travis Strikes Back from the
Gotcha.
No More Heroes series, just because I need to finish that before moving on to No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, No More Heroes 3 actually already came out, didn't it?
Yes, that was a couple of months ago actually.
What was the critical reception, do you know?
I think people liked it actually. Honestly, even if it had been a catastrophic flop, I just want to see where the story goes or what Suda51 decided to finish up with.
Did Suda51 say that was going to be the very last game in the series?
No, he didn't say that. I mean, I think he said something on Twitter along the lines of this wraps up the story, but um, you never really know with him. Also, Travis was pretty old in that game. And by pretty old, I mean my age, so... and then, of course, the other game I will definitely be playing is Sunbreak, which I am sure you'll be playing as well, won't you, John?
Potentially. I know a couple of my brothers want me to play that game, although haven't been a super fan of the latest entries in Monster Hunter.
Yeah, Generation 5. Generation 5. Well, these monsters are called Wounded Aurochs. I didn't know that there was such a thing as an Auroch other than those mentioned in Final Fantasy X.
Not sure what an Auroch is.
It looks like a Rajang actually, except it has a rhinoceros back.
Huh.
You know Aurochs from Final Fantasy X, don't you?
I can't say I do. I actually haven't played Final Fantasy.
You know, Waka's team, the Besaid Aurochs. Waka,
Unfortunately, no.
Blitzball player. John, you're gamer cred. Oh, these things are tough. Phew. Oh, great. I didn't know that I had a second monster on me. Alright, I'm about to die here. Wow, that was lucky. I really need to work on my positioning. This ruby carbuncle is actually quite strong.
Is that the DPS pet that you were hoping for?
Well, it only lasts a few seconds, so I don't know if it's as good as a DPS pet. These cooldowns are killing me. Okay.
Hey, so I know you've been partaking in some Wordle lately. How do you find that game?
Wordle. Well, I've been playing both an English version and a Spanish version. I
Oh,
only.
you know Spanish?
Yeah, I actually, I know Spanish. If it is not obvious.
That is pretty impressive. I did not know.
Yeah. If you ever need Spanish translations, please contact me at, well, yeah, so I think at least for the English version, there are very, very specific instances where I hit certain conundrums where I'm like, there can't be a word that matches these particular limitations. And it just forces me to think a lot. I am interested to see how long before the novelty wears out, just because you can only do so much with 5-letter words.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's been going for what, 250 or so rounds or something like that.
Yeah, the English one definitely has.
As for the Spanish one, I am constantly wondering if such words exist that I do not know. You know,
Yeah, I know.
even though I am an erudite in Spanish, as we have recently established, there are certain terms that have not been part of my vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
You could say I'm an arcanist when it comes to Spanish.
Well, I know that the time that I've played Wordle, it's probably been really the only times that it's been super tricky is when I've just gotten complete flops on the first couple of guesses, so it's just been a series of gray letters. Or when I've run into some of those encounters where you have like two middle letters and then maybe like the last letter, and then there's just so many combinations with your remaining letters that it could be like, what's a good example? Like you could have close, but you could also have clone, but you could also have, what else? You could even have, well, yeah, you could even have bloke, which is another word. So sometimes if you have the wrong combination of letters, it's just there's those traps that are always kind of difficult to overcome.
Well,
I wouldn't say they're annoying.
the other day I certainly was problematic because I didn't know you could use the same letter twice. I thought that if you entered a particular letter in, even though it was green, there would be something to signify that it could be used again. And which is why I never attempted that letter again, which made me lose the entire game.
Hmm.
So yeah, unacceptable. But you know, it wasn't bad. It was fine. Um, let's go with this. All right, leveled up to level 10.
Nice.
Um, actually, that this is probably befitting, but my friend Namji over here suggested that there's a high probability of of starting strong with the word crane. Um, If she still happens to be in the chat, I'm sure she can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
For the English Wordle, that is. But you know, I'm not a smart person. I like to start with the word I think it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think I've also heard something similar to that. I usually just like starting with words that have basically the most, what is it called?
Sarcosity.
No, I just like starting with words that have the most vowels, really.
Like Aegis.
Yeah, Aegis would be a good one. Or Aegis, I don't know how it's pronounced.
I like saying Aegis.
I've also learned some pretty weird 5-letter words from Wordle. Like, I know some of my friends occasionally use this word called, like, Crowith. It has, like, no vowels. Let me see if I can find it for you so I can spell it out. So it's spelled Crwth, and I don't know how it's pronounced. I just pronounce it Crowith, but apparently it comes from Welsh and is the name for an ancient Celtic instrument that is similar to a violin.
Crwph.
Yeah, Crwth, yes.
Th. Ruth.
Yes.
Ruth. Yeah, I
That sounds
guess
like you're clearing your throat.
I've never heard of that. Yeah, that's interesting. Has that ever been the word?
I don't think so.
No, I just unlocked an either flow gauge. Well, so John, is it either or aether?
I say aether. You say ether.
I say ether because of Xenogears Xenosaga. Oh, great. I just walked into a place full of NPCs and I thought they were friendlies, but then they all started attacking me, so of course, have to run. Jeez. At least I have my oatmeal stout with me. Helps me start out the day right.
It's always good. Hey, speaking about drinks, have you heard about that new Coke flavor? I think it's called Starlight.
I think I heard about it in a podcast. So what is that about?
Yeah, so it's a totally new Coke flavor.
Well, what is the theme behind the flavor?
I actually don't know too much myself. What I only know is that apparently it's like a kind of pinkish, purplish, bluish hued. Well, it has like the pinkish, purplish, bluish top hue, and then it kind of fades down to red, which is just a regular Coke red can color.
Uh-huh.
And it's supposed to be like space themed. I feel like it's also tapping into that kind of 90s aesthetic, uh, like 90s aesthetic, retro kind of, you know, retro space. I don't know a good way to describe it.
Well, back in the
Hopefully I
90s,
got
we
the point.
were obsessed with space, so I see what you mean.
But yeah, I don't know what it's supposed to taste like.
Are you thinking about buying one day one?
I think it's already released, so I don't know if I would buy it day one, but I am interested to try it out. And again, I don't buy too much Coke. I like vanilla Coke, I like cherry Coke, but whenever I come to buying, whenever I have to buy Coca-Cola, I usually just buy the normal flavor.
Well, I never get soda because whenever I think could get soda, I just get a beer. But the instances that I could get soda, I get Coke Zero. Unfortunately, the flavor on that recently changed, and by recently, I mean the past 2 years.
Oh yeah, do you like it?
I think the original Coke Zero was nice.
But is this one better, or is it the same?
It is comparable to Diet Coke, which was always inferior to Coke Zero.
Yeah, I see. You know what'd be funny is if they just swapped the recipes for Diet Coke and Coke Zero, and they just said, "Oh, look, new flavor, new recipes."
Well, I don't doubt that there's some of that going on. At what point can you say this is a new recipe versus something else, right?
I don't know.
As long as you can measure the quantities, measure the differences between two recipes, they are two recipes.
I guess you'd need to get a food chemist of some kind to determine that.
Some sort of stoichiometrist.
Yes, stoichiometrist.
Yeah. You would need to get a calorimeter.
Maybe an Erlenmeyer flask.
Specifically an Erlenmeyer flask.
Yeah, I would say that the extent of my scientific tools knowledge mostly comes from my chemistry class in high school and watching Breaking Bad. So there you go.
That's fair. I've only got memories of particular chemists and chemistry terms. It is when I think about such things, it's what you could call a chain of memories. Call back.
Okay, call back.
Uh,
So here, I have a question for you, and it might be a very, very divisive question that will fracture your community in half.
okay, well, go ahead. I am ready to take the hit.
But if you were in charge of changing the chemistry curriculum for kids, like for basically for middle schoolers and high schoolers that were going through chemistry class, would you make them memorize the entire periodic table?
No, I would not. Actually, was that a point of contention? Who is asking people to memorize the periodic table?
Well, basically, all of my chemistry teachers, both in high school and in college, have asked me to memorize it for some silly reason.
You mean like don't just memorize the noble gases or something like that, but memorize
Yeah.
the entire
Yes.
Like, I understand the notion behind memorizing like the first two rows, and like maybe the noble gases. Maybe a couple of like interesting ones here and there. But to memorize the whole periodic table, that sounds like a fool's errand.
Yeah, I
And let
never
me tell you
understood it.
why. Sorry to interrupt. But let me explain why. Because if you're out on the field actually doing chemistry, if you need to know what's on that periodic table, you're just gonna pull it out. That's all you need to do. It's available. You don't need to like know it by memory.
That's totally what I think so too, but I don't know. I feel like, at least in the public school system that I went through, they were just extremely dogmatic about learning the periodic table for whatever reason.
Definitely not during my time. Honestly, I remember that one of my hardest classes back in college, parasitology, the information was so specific to certain conditions that exams were issued where you are free to use the textbook, because a lot of these things are, they're not even, they're certainly not things that you could memorize, but they're also not things that would be what you would say they make sense, or you can just simply logic your way through them. They are
Mhm.
facts about things that happen. And so if you got information that requires that sort of uh, partitioning and unification, then you need a resource to, guide you, as opposed to attempting to try to call forth a certain detail.
Mhm. That makes sense. It's just, I don't know. I never understood why, at least in my experience, some teachers felt like the periodic table was like the multiplication table. At least the multiplication table, you can make a case for that because it's always useful to be able to, do addition in your head to do multiplication, because it's basically concepts that transfer over to real life. To say, for instance, you know, how many bag of beans can I buy with the money in my pocket? So, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, all of that makes sense. But periodic table,
Yeah, I disagree. And at this point, I have lost half of my audience, so I apologize for that. I didn't mean to get into hot topics today specifically, but
I
we
warned
went
you.
there. We were first. No
I warned you
periodic
that
table memorization.
this would fracture your audience. Feel like if there is some middle-aged chemistry teacher on the stream watching, they would have probably already left.
Yeah, they're like, hey man, rare earth elements for life. Alright, stale worm. Stale worm. Okay, it looks like I'm going into a cutscene here. Okay, it looks like I have to go cut down somebody called Severin. Ultimately, at least. And I am approaching Cinderella time in less than 10 minutes, John. Where are you at in your own quest?
I am doing the second job quest, I think, or the third. Yeah, on the bright side, I think the main story quest starts converging at level 15, so we might see ourselves sooner rather than later.
We might finally meet.
Yes.
Wonderful. Oh. Okay, let's see how far I can get here. Well, let me get to this next quest point, and I think that'll be it for me today.
Sounds good.
Hopefully next time around I've actually sat down and looked at my command spells, so I'm not simply casting the same one spell for every single fight. Bloody trap. Intercept Severin and his henchmen. Okay, I think I probably shouldn't go ahead and move forward with this. I think I'm calling it a wrap here, John.
Alrighty then.
So I'll see you here next week.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, well, as for the stream, thank you everyone for tuning in and viewing the Ales and Fails Twitch stream. As I usually end up saying, stay thirsty, Wolfkin. We'll see you next time.